Hello my dear students. In this LSK class, we are going to listen to a story which talks about tolerance, which talks about being keen observant, which talks about being caring for others, being respectful to others and be empathetic to others' problems. Okay, so let's begin with the story and then we will see whether it can be achieved by us or not. Let's begin, and the title of my story is Dad's Bus Ride to Hospital. Okay, Dad's Bus Ride to Hospital. The narrator of this story is a little girl of 8 years and her name is Gunjan Sharma. Let me start with the story. Dad's bus ride to hospital. The bus was very crowded. Dad looked ill at ease. I knew the reason clearly. My dad was a retired army. He always stands whenever he takes a bus. But today, Dad's ankle was sprained and swollen like steamed bread. Mom urged him several times to go to the hospital, but he was very busy and didn't go until today. Today, the pain had become acute in his knee and ankle too. It was Sunday. Mom had to work an extra shift and I offered to accompany father to the hospital, for I thought that I was already grown up and could take good care of him. Many people crowded into the bus and standing beside Dad. I protected him by pushing people away here and there with my body. The bus came to another stop. More people got on it. Then I saw a woman with a baby in her arms. She was struggling very much to get a seat somewhere. I immediately turned and blocked my dad's sight of her because I knew Dad was a very kind-hearted person. If he would have seen this lady, then he would have offered his seat to her. But unfortunately, due to the huge jolting, the baby started to cry. He cried so loudly that it reached to the ears of my dad. He stood up and called the woman. "Ma'am, come here and take the seat." The lady, who was desperately searching for the seat, was so happy. She said, thank you, sir." I became worried and pressed my hand on his shoulder. "Dad, you?" Dad's brows knitted into a knot and he looked at me severely, which made me swallow what I was going to say. Usually, when I did something wrong, my dad neither beat me nor scolded me, but looked at me with those overbearing eyes, which would make me suffer enough. However, I felt I was right today. I thought unhappily. The young man sitting next to him did not offer his seat. Why should my dad do so? With a wounded ankle, he was suffering already. Now he has to stand throughout the journey. Why did he do so? It was cold winter weather, but sweat oozed on father's forehead. He must be feeling a great pain. How stupid he was. I felt both sorry for him and angry at him too. Anyone is as good-hearted as Raja Harishchandra, I muttered and cast several angry looks at him. The bus went very fast. Suddenly it was brought to a halt and all the people in it were thrown forward. I heard a scream beside me. Ouch! You stepped on me. I looked and found it came from a fat woman with a big perm in her hair, shouting some dirty words. Dad flushed, and before he could open his mouth and say anything, that fat woman stamped her foot. Dad drew a deep breath, his face turning pale immediately. It was obvious that he had stamped on Dad deliberately. I felt extremely angry, and having clenched my fist, I really felt like jumping on her and beating her up. Though I did not dare to hit her, I shouted instead, "How can you be so unreasonable? My dad did not step on you deliberately, but you meant to hurt him. He's got a sprained foot." As if there was something choked my throat, I could not go on. At this moment, Dad said very politely to that woman, "I'm sorry." I looked at him surprised. Why? Why should you say sorry to her, father? Dad was too weak and too easy to bully. Now, the people in the bus began to criticize the women. Someone said loudly, "You ladies are really unsympathetic and unreasonable. Didn't you learn any moral values in your school? Didn't you learn any proper behavior in your family? What your parents taught you? Is this the way you behave in the public? Don't you have mind to understand others' problem?" After having said these words, another man said in a low voice, "It's lucky she met a retired army person who knows how to exercise self-control. Otherwise, she would have been beaten up by the public." Hearing what the people around said her, the woman blushed and turned to another direction. Then the woman with the baby stood up and said, "Oh, comrade, I'm really sorry. I didn't know that you had wound on your foot. You would better sit here," said a young man sitting nearby, eagerly offering Dad his seat. The people around all looked at Dad admiringly. I helped my crippled dad walk to the hospital. Dad seemed to say both to me and to himself, "The moral values that we learn in the school and in the home should be reflected in our behavior wherever we go. That will show the reputation of our family, and it will prove that we are a good citizen of our nation. We cannot just give lip service, we have to practice as well. I believe that if you met up with such a thing, you would do just as I did, wouldn't you?" Dad asked me. I was so much confused so as to what should be my reaction to the situation. I could not say anything to my dad, but I realized I did not notice at what time the sun showed its red smiling face. It was the appreciation of the nature as well. Now I can see Dad's red star cap and collar insignia appeared brighter in the sunshine. This is to show that the respect of an army man is much more than anyone else. Not only because he was an army, but even after retirement, he followed the discipline outside his home as well, which he wants me to learn at very early age. Lowering my head, I saw my red scarf flapping on my breast, and I felt very ashamed of myself because I didn't know whether I could be as good as my dad ever or not. So this ends this story, children. Now here we learn that wherever we go, we have to bring laurel to our family and our teachers, who teaches us right from the childhood, and they try to instill moral values in children, but some of the children, they don't take it properly. So here they need to analyze that they are being watched by everyone in the public wherever they go, and it should not be that if we have power then we should dominate others. This is very wrong. Even if we have power, we have to utilize it for the betterment of others. If we are not able to use our powers and position productively, then we will never be able to achieve our goals. We will never be able to teach others moral values and other good lessons. So it is first priority to take all these things under consideration, and then only we can be a good citizen, good father, good son, etc. So here we need some more things as well. We have to be tolerant just like father. Okay, every time fighting with words and swords might not be good for human being. Sometimes we need to accept the faults that we don't do, just like father did, and then the result is seen in this story, that he was appreciated for being a patient man, whereas that lady was cursed by all the members of the bus. So this is what we learn, and we have to take it further in our future as well. So by this I end my story, children. Let me know how did you like it and what rectification you want in the story. Do let me know. Till then, take care and bye bye. Have a good day, children.